go. Miss you.
Welcome back to another episode of Naik Bulu Tales. I'm Fairil.
I'm Mo.
And we are from Jomama.
There it is.
There it is.
Jomama.
Yes. If you'd like to buy a shirt, try to, because we don't have any extra ones. Anyway, welcome again to another episode. Always we'd like to thank you guys for supporting us and watching this and helping us grow. If you haven't yet subscribed,
Please do.
It'll help us grow the channel. And comment and like, because it helps with the algorithm. And
we want to just, shout out to so far, we have 200 plus subscribers.
Yeah, 200 plus
subscribers.
It's a big thing for us.
Thank you very much for those who are still supporting us.
And so Naik Bulu Tales pretty much is a podcast that we wanted to do for a long time. And we did this before during the pandemic, but it was more like an IG online kind of thing. But now we've gone into a video podcast, and it's basically a platform where we share a lot of ghost stories from all over the world, and we invite guests to come on and share their own real life experiences. And that's probably the best part of the show.
I don't know about you. When I was younger, I did Boy Scouts, right?
Right.
So I think the tone of this show is kind of like telling ghost stories around a campfire.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it'll be great. We get to do that one day.
Oh, I think we should.
Yeah.
I think we should.
They're pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, so first segment is pretty much how we share our own stories, and either our own stories or stories from around the world online that we find. And after that is the guest. So Mo, you can start it off.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, dear sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so this story is from Reddit again. Let's just be clear, I'm just the Reddit guy. Okay, so this is on the subreddit Ghost Stories. User Lux Divination, LUX. This one's called Unimaginary Friend Rice. Like most children, I had an imaginary friend when I was young. His name was Rice, and I remember spending countless hours playing with him at my grandmother's house. At that age, I didn't fully comprehend the concept of an imaginary friend. To me, Rice was as real as any other person. We would play together as I had no other friends during my visits to my grandma's place. Rice had a distinct personality and thoughts, although he never spoke. Instead, he would communicate through gestures and charades. I can still vividly recall his appearance, a boy around my age with blue eyes that matched the color of his overalls. As I grew older, my interactions with Rice became less frequent. And when I did see him, he appeared more like a shadow. I would tell my grandmother that Rice was my shadow. He eventually became one of the many spirits I encountered in that house. We would run around the yard together, and Rice would often peek out from the garage near the house. His hand would beckon me to follow him to the basement. This scenario repeated itself regularly, and every game seemed to lead to this outcome. Looking back now, I realized that because of Rice, I was often enticed into mischievous behaviors. He would point out the most dangerous things to do and encourage me to take part in them, such as punching holes in walls, jumping out of tree houses, and playing with rusty metal.
Wow.
Years later, as my grandmother's health deteriorated, she also began to see Rice. She was confined to a hospital bed in the living room, as she wished to be at home when her time came. The medication she took for her condition caused her to drift in and out of reality. Many would dismiss her sightings as mere delusions, but I know better. One day, my mother was assisting her when my grandmother asked, "Who is the little boy?" Perplexed, my mother looked around and asked, "What boy, mother?" "The little boy in the overalls," my grandmother said. "He's hiding over there. He doesn't live here. He needs to go home." Soon after, my grandmother started mentioning that her parents, who had long passed away, were waiting outside to take her home. She didn't want to be late. As her own passing grew near, she seemed to gain the ability to see glimpses of the other side.
Oh.
This profound experience, combined with my own encounters, ignited a deep desire within me to understand the nature of my abilities, the connection between the realms, and how they influence our world. Little did I know that my journey would lead me to explore the mysteries of the paranormal and uncover the chilling secrets hidden within this house of center.
It's quite interesting. You know how they say supposedly toddlers can see things, right?
Yeah.
And now when you're towards the end of your years,
Yeah.
that's when you see things, well, potentially, possibly see
Right.
things.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that, like, the house on center is like, I don't know, it's like capitalized, so it's like a place actually. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
It's,
house.
the house on center is that's the last sentence of this article. But coming back to what you're saying, what if imaginary friends all over the world since the dawn of time has always been a ghost, like an apparition, right? And as adults, we and parents, they easily dismiss children, which
Right.
we see in horror films all the
Yeah.
time.
Did you have an imaginary friend when you were younger?
No, but my nephew did, Liam.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name was, but he even drew him. He was kind of like an astronaut looking guy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you would like expect to see like some,
Yeah, it wasn't as creepy as I thought, but thank God.
like, oh, Liam, you're going to the moon soon.
Did you have any imaginary
No, I
friends
didn't,
when you
but I
were-
wanted to.
Right? I mean, I did too, because I was watching, TV when we were young.
I remember,
Movies.
I remember when I was young, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make up a friend. And I thought, man, I feel kind of dumb doing that. I was like, I am actually talking to myself.
But it's funny that you are aware of that, right? Because if you had an imaginary friend, you wouldn't. There's no logic to it. It's just like, I want a friend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna create one in my mind.
That's cool, though. Yeah, man. Imaginary friends, I think, are somewhat possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's good if they are not harmful. You know what I mean? Like Rice was telling him to do naughty but dangerous things, which tends to be. Yeah, I'm like, is that is that more of a sinister demon playing with children kind of thing?
Playing a rusty nail, that's not.
So you have just a story of a story that you have, not from.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do this a little bit differently today.
Okay.
I'm going to tell a story that actually my housemate story, a place where I used to stay.
Oh man.
And it happened where he told me about it. And it's not my own personal story, but it happened where I was living. So
basically, you're the guest now, so I'm just gonna ask you questions after this.
So basically, it was a while ago. I was staying with two housemates somewhere in Damansara, and then I stayed in the smallest room, and they stayed in the other two rooms, obviously. But he was telling me there was one day during the day, he was sitting down watching TV, and in front of, so my door is right next to the exit, the main front door, right? And next to my door, in front of my door, he saw an Indian man sitting basila, reading something.
Oh.
Yeah, and then when he noticed it, he's like, "Ah, shit, what am I supposed to do?" Right? And then he kept on watching TV, and then like a couple seconds later, he'll kind of look to his peripheral vision, and he's like, "Fuck, that thing's still there." And so what he decided to do was he decided to turn the TV off, get up, not face that thing, go around, go to his room, and once he opened the door, he could see the Indian man laying down on his bed, but facing the window. So he was obviously he was scared, but he had some balls on him, because what he told me he did was he tried to, in a way, challenge that thing.
No.
Yeah. So what he did was he went to the bed, he laid down next to it, and he faced the other way. So they're both facing away, right?
So they're on the same bed.
On the same bed, on his bed. And then so when he laid down, he was facing the bathroom, and like within like 5 seconds, he felt the thing kick him, and he fell off the bed. Right? He got back up, laid down on the bed again. The thing kicked him off again. So he was like, and then the third time he got back up, This time he started kicking him off. What he felt was a forearm push against the back of his neck. So his face was like on the pillow like that, and the forearm was the back of his neck. And he was like saying he's like, please, you know, he's like, jangan kacau, you know. He's like, you know, what did I do? What did I do wrong? You know. So the thing basically said it was talking in BM, but in English it basically said, oh, back in your kampung, you're such a good boy, huh? Come back to KL, this is how you behave. And then they actually struck a kind of a deal then and there for him to get off of him. And the thing basically said, if I find you doing these things again, siap go, and then disappear. And he was like crying.
This is your roommate saying that to him?
Yeah. No, the thing was saying that to my roommate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. What deal was that? That's not a deal.
They say he was saying, I won't do that again. You know, I don't know if ever, but I mean, I've told you other stories about that place. You know, that the things have happened in that place, right?
Sorry, how long ago?
Oh, this was probably 2000, and I'm gonna say 2007.
Wow, yeah. It's like I just got back from the States.
2008, 2007. Yeah. So the funny thing was, it waited in front of my room first. Yeah, so he was telling me he just sat in front of your room and was just reading a book. And I was like, wait a minute. First is an Indian man. You know, an Indian ghost.
Yeah.
None of us were Indian.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it was weird.
But he knew your friend from kampung.
So, okay, so sorry. To give some context, my housemate just got back from kampung.
Man, it followed him.
It followed him back.
It followed.
Yeah, it followed him back. Yeah. So I'm assuming it had an energy. It felt an energy that he comes back to the kampung and he's one way, and he comes back to KL away from kampung, he's another way. You know.
And the ghost didn't like that.
Yeah, the ghost didn't like that. It could actually be like a good jinn, like giving him like a warning, you know, like yo.
But your friend clearly saw like an Indian-looking man. Yeah. Indian-looking man. Yeah. Wow. And he doesn't recognize him. Like, who is this? This
was a random person in my house.
A random ghost in your house.
But yeah, that freaked me out for a while.
How long did you guys still stay there?
We stayed there for a while, maybe 2 years. No. I stayed there only a year. They stayed there for 2 years. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ain't that interesting?
I mean, your room, where was it in relation to that your friend's room?
Oh, my room is the first room when you walk in. It's on my right. So you walk in the front door. My room's on the right. You go straight. It's the living room. I remember this apartment. Yes. And you go straight again. The 2 rooms at the end of the hall. Right. And the kitchen was on the right. Yeah. So. So when you go balik kampung, right? You please behave. I mean, when you come back to KL, you please behave. They can tell. Be careful. Yeah. Anyway, that's my story.
That's an interesting story. I mean, it happened.
If you guys got any stories, something like
roommate.
Comment if you like it. Let's get going to our next segment.
Again, our favorite part.
So we shall be right back. Welcome back to our second segment where we introduce you guys to our guest speaker.
I like this one.
And today's guest speaker is an old friend,
old colleague.
I know,
one of the OG members of Jomama.
Yes, sir. And he's also nominated for an Emmy Award for his documentary.
Yes, he did.
And he's also followed by many, many people during the election time on his Twitter.
So who do we got?
We got Hadi Azmi.
Hadi. This is our boy.
Welcome to our
Thank you
Naik Bulu podcast.
Thank you.
No, having you around, it just reminds me of the old days, you know? Gassing days.
Yeah.
One particular story.
Is the edit ready? Is the edit ready yet?
Oh yeah.
Which one?
How you been, man? How you been?
Yeah.
I've been good. Yeah.
Yeah, things are going well for you. I see a lot of good things happening.
Not bad.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah, big time journalist now.
Yeah, strange, right?
Yeah, and bigger projects down the
great.
road, I hope.
Yeah. As the world keeps turning, news keep churning. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'm going to be employed for a while.
That's awesome.
Before AI takes over.
Yeah. Then.
Well,
Oh my god.
then we gotta probably then come back on this podcast.
So before we start with your story, as a journalist, right? What is your unique perspective? What's the angle do you always look for in your stories?
I cover politics. I cover like all these important people.
Yeah.
Making speeches, saying big things, making promises and all that. I like to focus on the people,
Right.
because the people are often overlooked. Whenever we always want to hear what the minister is saying, but we also need to look at how does this affect the people and whether what the things that they promise is actually being delivered and all that. So whatever the story is, I try to look at it from the people's angle, especially the people who are most sidelined, neglected by
Right.
yeah.
The ignored ones.
Yeah, I think they deserve to be heard.
Love it, man. You're the rakyat. You're the rakyat. You represent the rakyat,
And
the
today,
people.
you deserve to be heard
Yes.
for your stories that we did not know you had any.
Yeah, that's the thing. I when you asked me to join this, I was thinking like, what ghost story do I have? Like, I've all my life I've been on the hearing end of ghost story. People always like, I always sit down with people and they would tell ghost stories, and I'll be like, oh wow, scary. Oh, okay. So yeah, I struggle with thinking of what supernatural things I've encountered, which is strange because for a good 5 years I live in a scary old school. My school was in Kuala Kangsar, was like 100 years old when I was there, and it was like, it has all the hallmark of a spooky school. Building spooky. The lights were like, at night, especially when they only open the corridor lights, it has a nice ambiance for a ghost movie. Yeah. So and even back then, I would like, I like to stay up at night with my friends and just roam around because everybody is asleep, and you can just like go here, go there, and they got like a lot of very big trees around the school. One of those like trees that rain trees, and people always say, oh god, lang suwe lah apa atas tu. So I'll be like, I'll be down there looking up sometimes.
Wow. So you actually like challenge yourself.
I don't really challenge. It's weird to say this, but I kind of crave for something, because I'm a bit jealous of other people who have had experience.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I want to have something of my own to tell people.
So you decide to go cari pasal yourself.
So yeah, I go around.
So you had FOMO.
Yeah, I had FOMO. So there was an
FOMO.
abandoned building in the school compound. So I would go there and then go upstairs to see.
By yourself?
With my friend, usually with my friend, but usually like, because we were channeling of each other's bravery, because you're proud young boys wanting to don't want to appear like a wuss. So we just like, jom atas, jom berani up.
Write some passage.
Okay, boleh.
And that time too bad there were no cameras. I mean, not that owner.
Yeah, there's no cameras, and even if you see something, people are just gonna be like, yeah, like, oh. Yeah. So just, but yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing that I've ever encountered. I got friends, who admit that they saw something, because you go to a school that is old, it has a long history. It has the sets of ghosts that are associated with the school. It's not like different people see different kind of ghosts. It's always be like, oh, I saw, like, one of the most popular ghosts is this thing called the Green Lady.
Green Lady?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like it's like a nurse, a matron. So she would walk around with a lantern. Like that.
What?
This is new. This is new to me.
This is in Malaysia.
Yeah, that gives out like an eerily green.
Is there a Malay name for this hantu?
No, we call it green lady.
You just the green lady is
We're quite fancy.
The green lady.
I mean, you can't get any fancier than that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got people who say that yeah, I've seen her. So, but that's the thing. You see a bunch of boys claiming to see like a ghost that until they join the school they have never heard of it. So
Right.
you're just like, okay lah, kau ni that's not. You want to fit in, right? But there was like there's also another popular one is this. It's called a flat face.
Flat face.
Yeah. So basically, it's the story of the flat face is apparently it's a boy in the school who died, and then how people find him is always in the one particular toilet, and then he would be facing the sink. Usually, the people who find it is either the wardens or the prefects,
Right.
because he would be there during like odd hours where you're not supposed to be there, and then he would be there like wearing like baju Melayu, bro. So it's out of the ordinary. So people would just go, "Hey, kau ni, what are you doing out here? You're supposed to be in class." So they walk up to him, tap him on the shoulder, and he turn around. He's like, his face has all the ridges, but doesn't have the eye, doesn't have the mouth.
It's just flat.
Yeah, it's
face.
flat
Yeah,
face.
that's what it is. Flat face. Wow.
Yeah, so that is one that people, one of the more popular ones.
So are these okay? So the green lady, flat face. This all happened in your 100-year-old school. This wow. This is
Yeah.
one location.
And where was the school again?
Kuala Kangsar.
Yeah.
So and your friends say they have seen it.
Yes, so some of them are like honestly say, yeah, dude, it's like shaking. I've seen it. It's like they tell me that I was skeptical, but like I totally say, like, oh yeah, okay, so
It's like like seeing Ryan Reynolds, the Green Lantern.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. When I heard lantern, I was like, oh,
yeah, it gives a nice, interesting,
is there like one story particularly like from all your friends sharing that it really stuck with you still to this day?
Yeah, there's one that is very strange. It's called the Midnight Train.
Che, got title also.
Yeah.
That's also a movie.
So the Midnight Train is I used to remember that it happens on a particular year. It doesn't happen every year. There's a certain year gap that it happens on a night in November after like people have the school term is over. People has just gone home, but it started out in like, if I'm not mistaken, it's in the 60s. So it's a particular dorm. That's the thing. All these ghosts are like, it is associated with the location. So
Right.
this Midnight Train is associated with this particular dorm. So what happened is like this kid, he was supposed to take the train back to KL, but then he missed the train, so he had to stay at the dorm for another night to wait for the next day's train. So he was staying at the dorm, and then he was like, I think he was alone. So while waiting, it was already night, and then he heard like people marching, like. So he looked out the window, and then he saw like in the field there's like like a military.
Whoa. Like a full infantry.
Yeah, full military like lining up, queuing, and then doing their marching and all that.
Okay.
So he got panicked, he got scared, he was running, and then he ran back into the dorm. And then weird thing is, suddenly the dorm will be shaking, and then it will become very loud. And then the dorm is quite wide, so it's like wall, bed, and then there's a gap in the middle.
Right.
A fucking train pull up into the dorm,
No.
and then somebody from inside the train grab him, pull him into the train, and the train like
I guess you didn't miss it after all.
yeah. So he missed that train. But he got into
This one.
another train.
Wow, that's strange.
And then yeah, and the rumor was that he was discovered back like 4 years later.
You're kidding.
He was the same age.
No.
But he was delivered back to that same dorm
Right.
in the same night, but just 4 years later.
Oh my
And
god.
then but by that time people assumed that he was dead, so he went back to his family in, and at first people accused him of impersonating a missing child, so he got into like legal problem,
right, because he's the same kid.
Yeah,
how much can he really change in 4 years, right?
yeah, but that's the thing, it was like, I think people has grieved and moved on, and suddenly like
so basically people think he's a different kid.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah,
didn't
right?
age, because he was the same age when he went.
Like is this somebody trying to be
Yeah.
that kid, trying to be a punk? I know happening like a prank.
Yeah,
That is insane.
yeah. So that was like one story that I really like. Fuck.
Where is this dorm?
Yeah.
It's in my school. It's
Your school too?
yeah. It's all happening.
Oh, in Kuala Kangsar.
It's all like the law of my that happened is.
Man, your school's got a lot of
Yo.
his school's got a lot of movies we can rank.
Kuala Kangsar is keras, yeah.
Keras,
No
babe.
way.
Oh, because I mean the train station is right close back.
Yeah,
too,
it's
right?
close by, and then like that's the thing with old schools. You got like quirks that happen in the school, and then there's always a story associated with it. Like one of the dorm buildings, all the floors are like, some building has clear cement floor, like unvarnished. Some dorm has painted red floors, and the red floors are supposedly where people were tortured during the war, and it was too much to clean out the blood, so
That's
they
why.
just like paint it over.
Oh.
And there's one dorm.
Painted it over red.
Yeah,
Because it was hard to
red.
to clean the red.
Yeah, but there's one dorm that has a red floor, except for like a nice cutout, in cement colored, that is like different. The surface is different from the rest.
Right.
And if you go there and you knock on it, it's hollow.
That is strange.
Yeah. So,
But how big is that? How big is that area of the cement?
yeah, it's about this table, size of this table. So it's like, yeah.
So you can actually potentially go down.
Yeah, so the story was that like there was a staircase that goes down, and it was like a tunnel. I like all the stories because like the probability of it. They always say, they always tell me like, you look at the map, if you draw a straight line from this cement thing, you drew a straight line, it will lead you to the palace. So we actually did that. We look at the map. So we drew a line like, motherfucker.
That's right.
So he says that, yeah, the tunnel is built to, as an escape route to the palace, and it was closed because like one time a kid went down, and then he went missing, and then they sent people to look for the kids. So they sent one guy, went inside, never came out.
So the guy never came out.
Yeah, so the guy who was supposed to go look for
Yeah.
the kid didn't come out. So like, fuck it. So another guy went in, but this time they tied a rope to him. So they come out, just like pull him out. He went. Then they called for him. He didn't like answer. So they pulled the string, and then he was like,
God.
yeah, the knot was like unwound, and then
Oh
guy was
my
gone.
God, these
So-
are just scenes in a horror film, basically.
So they decided to just like just cement it over and just like.
Maybe we should go in. Because then if they did open it, then the roamer named Hadi might suddenly go in.
Yeah, I harbored some ambition of
I bet, man.
exploring that.
Kamu ni.
It's like one day it's like everybody's like, where did Hadi go? And nobody can find him. I think we know where he is.
It's either the train or he went to the tunnel.
With the flat face and the green lady. That's who's with on the train with.
The lady got a lantern, so
Yeah,
That-
you can see.
That is such an interesting story of it. Oh, I mean, the train is a strange story.
yeah, that
But,
was sci-fi a bit.
But I tell you, it's your little snippets are reminding me of a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like mysterious things happen.
This is not like claws and blood.
Right.
This
No,
is
yeah.
more like like
There's another
Yeah.
side of.
It's like the train thing reminds me of obviously of like it could be like another Bunyan world, right?
yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with the whole he went missing in the jungle.
Yeah, Bunyan
You know, I quick story. A friend told me of his friend. This is a while back. They were housemates, and this friend was actually this other friend. Let's just say Adam and Ben, say for example, right? So Adam was dating this girl, and Ben was the other housemate. But Adam would, when he dated this girl, he'd disappear for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Nobody knows where he is, right? And then he'll come back, pack his clothes. He said, "Okay, I'm going." And the guy's like, "Oh, where are you going?" "I'll be back again." And he just disappeared.
Okay.
And he came back maybe a month later, and Ben was like, "Dude, what the hell? We have exams, we have this, we have that. Where are you going?" He's like, "Well, I'm gonna get married." He's like, "To who?" And he's like, "To this person I met while I was taking a walk in the forest."
Oh, I know what's saying.
Yeah. And then he's just like, "What, are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah." It's actually he actually admitted it was a Bunyan person. It's a Bunyan girl.
Oh, he's aware. He's completely aware. He wants to be in her world.
Yeah, the Bunyan girl not pulled him, but enticed him to stay in that world. And he's going, and the story was that friend, Ben, never heard again from that guy. After there was nothing.
Oh, I think you've told me this before.
Yeah,
sounds very familiar. Yeah,
disappeared from the face of the earth from a long time. I don't know what happened after that, whether there were any reports or anything like that, but that was the story. So
he's definitely in the Bunyan world.
But yeah, remember when we were in Langkawi, we were doing this one project. One thing I like about Langkawi is that the people there are very in tune with the mystical. Yeah, it's not Pulau Legenda for no reason. It's it's not just because there's a makam Masuri. The people there, if you speak to them, they actually we went in a Grab. So we just asked the guy. I was like, and the guy was just showing us, "Oh, tu Telaga Tujuh." So I was like, okay. And then so just asked him selalu pergi ke? And then dia macam, "Saya ni pernah, tapi lama lah, tapi sebab saya pergi tu, saya jumpa lah puteri tu." Apparently the law of Telaga Tujuh is that there's the telaga, and then they've got 7 princesses or nymphs,
right?
Yeah, and then they would entice young men to and bunyan, and then they would disappear.
Yeah.
So apparently the young boys there would go there in the hope of seeing the putri.
And we were there. Effie was right on top shooting. During our shoot.
Yeah. So it was.
I didn't really know that was a story about Telaga Tujuh.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
That's the first I've heard it too. I knew there's a lot of legendas, in Langkawi. Love it.
Yeah, I think you spend enough time with the people there.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
That's what you should do, dude. You should go around since you're a journalist.
That's your next documentary.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
this is your next documentary.
All the laws of Malaysia,
the laws of physics between this world and the other world. But do you yourself are you convinced there's something else?
I like to think that there is something beyond
right
the physical world that we can sense with our 5 senses.
Yeah.
It's nice to think that there is something else.
Right, yeah.
Because otherwise the world will be just so boring and scientific and mathematical.
Yeah. I keep saying reminding our guests, I remind us too that Naik Bulu Tales, we believe you, because it's a safe space, right? The thing is, you're a journalist that depends on facts, evidence, and it's so interesting to me that you are a believer.
Yeah, it's because
it's cultural too.
If you're dealing with facts all the time, it gets it gets dry.
Yeah.
You crave for things you can't explain. That is
until you can explain.
Yeah, until you can. It gives you a problem for you to solve.
Right.
And and you're stuck with it, and it keeps you awake thinking about it.
Right. I don't think anyone has ever been in the Bunyan one and come back to tell the tale. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unless that Adam guy, he did come back and forth.
Don't know.
2 weeks at a time.
He did.
Apparently he went back and forth the world.
Until he got married, then he kind of
and he just disappeared.
Probably fantastic there.
Yeah, they're like elves, right?
Yeah, I think they solve all climate change problem in their world.
Yeah,
probably the climate is nice there.
They have no war.
They have no war.
Well, maybe they do, but it's probably war against humans.
Oh yeah, just humans encroaching into their kampung.
But the Bunyan world is a very, very fascinating in the whole supernatural world.
It is. It is.
It's like
almost a utopian, right? World. Everything's great there. Everything's beautiful. It's paradise, almost paradise.
Paradise.
Wow. Okay. Well, before we end it off, you don't have any particular experience that you might have thought like, oh shit, this is it.
No, I do like no. That's the funny thing. When I'm looking for it, I didn't find anything. But when I always noticed that, especially when I'm alone, like especially when I'm like praying. Sometimes at night you just like, shit, I gotta pray.
Yeah.
So you pray, and then I always feel like there's something watching me,
right,
at the back, on the side. So I'm like, shh.
Because they do say that when you pray is when they try to cut you out.
Yeah, because like this guy was already in bed. He wanted to go to bed, and then suddenly like something made him want to like pray, and then so the devil wants you to no, go back.
Yeah, that's what shaitan do.
So it's always like you feel like you want to like devote your time to God, but at the same time you're scared because you feel like something breathing down your neck, and like that do happen. Like when, especially like nowadays, like my wife is around most of the time, but whenever she's not around, I'm like home alone. Suddenly, like just look at that one dark corner, and I was like,
memang cari pasal. Memang dia tunggu. Come out.
But speaking of prayers and shaitans, my grandma, she's 86 now, right? So my late grandfather, my grandma's still around, yeah. So my late grandfather, he was a DO, district officer. So basically diplomats within Malaysia. So my mom and her two brothers and my uncles, they would every few years, right? My mom went to school in Kuantan, and then they stayed in Bentong one time. Bentong is heavy. So their house, the government house, was on top of a hill.
All the hallmarks of it.
So growing up, my mom would tell me things like at night they would hear scratches on the door, and I said it could be tigers. It could be, but they could see the scratches outside and inside the house some more. I mean, so it's either it was a apparition, or even if it was a tiger inside, it's even scarier. And then at night they would hear the forks and spoons rattle. Now circling back to praying, my grandma, and she's a Chinese convert. She was from Singapore, converted. Best Muslim in the family, I tell you. My late great grandmother was like, "Oh, you're my favorite daughter." She had 11 kids, right? So, you're the best Muslim. So one night she was praying. As she was praying, something was choking her.
Okay.
Yeah, Topuan, my grandma. So she's like, and she's reciting ayat. She didn't stop. That's how strong she was. She didn't stop. She kept praying as this thing was choking her. I don't know until what extent it was trying to choke her too, but she was strong enough. And then that thing didn't bother her anymore. Then I told my topo, like, how did you handle it? I was like, I handled it. She's an Aquarius Chinese woman who's like, yo, I've been through this. You can't get up in the morning? What, you're depressed? Yeah, she's a tough cookie. My family itself went through a lot of things. My late grandfather had so many ghost stories as well, but especially in the government houses.
Yeah,
because they're in the jungle for some reason. That's a crazy story.
But yeah, man, thanks for coming on and telling your stories. I mean,
man,
that green lady in the freight train.
I like the flat face. The flat face was creepy. It stays with me.
Was that interesting?
Yeah.
Maybe today's story was not like about scaring, but it's actually about. It actually opened more doors to these different.
If anything, it creates awareness.
Yeah,
which is great.
Thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming
Hadi
in.
Azmi, thank you, bro.
Thank you.
I know you're busy with a lot of assignments. We've been texting you, and that's
Sorry, I had trouble.
It's okay. I love the fact that last week I was like, bro, you're good for next week, and that week like, oh, I'm sorry, bro, I'm in Paris. Best, like, okay, man, you enjoy Paris summertime.
We need to be a journalist.
I missed the riot by one day.
You did.
That's the thing with being journalist. It's like you hear a riot, you want to go there.
You gotta be there.
Again, Cherry Pasal.
I mean,
that's all you're trying to do.
He needs to, so we can be informed.
Yeah, exactly.
The news and be entertained.
So, anyway, if you guys enjoyed our segment, please comment, like. Have you ever heard anything about the Green Lady or the Midnight Train or the flat face? That Midnight Train is still in my head. Though,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like.
See, told you.
Yeah, if you want to tweet Hadi or his IG or look for his articles on
Correct.
South China Morning Post, that's right. An
Yeah.
amazing journalist.
Yeah, and check out his Emmy. What was the title again?
Assassins.
And it's on.
Emmy nominated, right?
It's on. It's not.
It's,
I don't know where it's on.
Actually, but it's Emmy nominated.
Emmy
It was
nominated.
Emmy nominated. Yeah.
Emmy nominated documentary called Assassins.
He was in the news and everything.
Ah.
But congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thanks again, and
Thanks,
we
dude.
wish you all the best, bro.
Yeah, I
And
love you.
You guys don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and we'll see you at the next episode of
Of Naik Bulu Tales.